Time for a little Kaiser Permanente teamwork in action. And you want to talk about teamwork, the 1975 NBA champions went too deep. That's right, TWO, as they won the championship against the Washington Bullets. And as Rick Barry would say, it's the biggest upset in North American sports history. And I'm not going to dispute that with him, but Steve Kerr touched on it earlier on how his 2015 championship team met that squad from 1975.
I remember early that season we invited some of the members of that team and the Warriors past to come speak with the team. That would have been fall of 2014. So we had Attles come speak. Nate Thurman was there. Rick wasn't there that day, but he came later in the season. Tom Meschery, who was he an assistant on that team or no? Yeah, he was on a previous team. Yeah, so I mean, one of the things that we wanted to do that year was to remind our players of, the history of the Warriors and the previous championship team, even though it had been 40 years. Those guys were still a big part of the franchise, and several of them have passed away since then, that time, and so it's wonderful to be able to bring them back again, in the year 50 mark anniversary, and looking forward to seeing them when they are here in a few minutes.
And we continue to celebrate that 1975 NBA championship team, the 50th anniversary. Jamaal Wilkes, Clifford Ray, the legendary Rick Barry, and I'll start with you, Jamaal. So good to see you guys, first and foremost, that you guys are able to get together back in the Bay Area, get your honor. And Jamaal, I know you were a rookie that season, coming out of UCLA. You won 2 NCAA championships under John Wooden alongside Bill Walton. You win the Rookie of the Year. You have a monster Game 7 in those Western Conference Finals with 23-8-8 against the Chicago Bulls. Talk about coming in, drafted 11th overall in that draft, and joining this team. Did you foresee a championship team when you first got drafted with the Warriors?
Absolutely not.
Why is that?
Well, I didn't know much about the team other than that they were in turmoil, and that they'd had a rough history the previous 4 or 5 years, and rookies just hadn't done well the previous 4 or 5 years. So I was really on the edge, and I just wanted to come in and put UCLA behind me and just come in and soak up as much as I could. And these guys were more than willing to help me along that path. But no, I did not see it ending like this at all. But midway through the year, I thought we could have a possibility. But I'd be lying if I said I expected it.
You had a monster Game 7, of course, against those Bulls in the Western Conference Finals. And that was your former team, Clifford. You were traded before the season for Nate Thurman. I know Nate Thurman, he's legendary around here. We miss Nate Thurman. But you get traded to the Golden State Warriors. You play alongside Rick. What did you think of that trade and then the opportunity to beat them in the Western Finals before winning the NBA championship?
Well, it was a great feeling, but it was also a sad feeling because when you're a rookie, like as he was saying, I was a rookie with the Chicago Bulls. And guys like Chet Walker, Bob Love, Jerry Sloan, those guys took me under their wing and really taught me the NBA game. So when I came here, it was a different situation because now I was a 1-year vet or 2-year vet, whatever it was. And then now I was coming for a Hall of Fame, the most valuable, one of the top players in the NBA. And I thought everybody was going to hate me, especially in Oakland. But Oakland embraced me. My teammate came, picked me up. It was just a lot of positiveness, and it made me feel at home.
Yeah, you led the team in rebounding, of course. And
I wanted to be able to – my goal was to leave a legacy for the younger people to come along and do something good for the Bay Area. And we accomplished that. All of us together worked at the same common cause, and we made that happen.
Yeah, you beat your former team on the way to the finals, and you and Rick are now some of the best of friends. I know you guys try to fly fish and all that stuff, but Rick, you always say, whenever I talk to you, the biggest upset in North American sports history. And I know the documentary's coming, but talk about that Bullets team that nobody picked you guys to beat. Elvin Hayes, Wes Unseld, they were favored. And you sweep the Bullets, Rick.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it just made it that much more special because of the fact that we were just written off at the start of the season. But then we were lucky to get somebody like Jamaal, who was Keith Wilkes at the time, to be the Rookie of the Year. It's rare that you get two rookies, Phil Smith and another one, to contribute to a team's success like they did. It was really a tribute to them. But this guy sitting next to me over here not only is a better fisherman than me, but he was an unbelievable teammate. And I think he was the hub of our team. I don't think I was the most important player. I think Clifford was. He's the one that really kept everybody together. And he and George together were I called him the two-headed monster. We can beat people up with Clifford and finesse them to death with George. And in that seventh game, when you talked about it, I was thinking up the gym. Thank God Jamaal had a good game against Chicago, because the first 4 quarters, basically, I sucked. And fortunately, I came out in the fourth quarter, but Jamaal kept us in the game with his offense, and it was George with his defense. And I remember seeing video. I mean, the third quarter, I'm out. Al took me out of the game, and I don't go in until into the fourth quarter. And these guys are playing great. We were double digits down. They got us back to 6. And, hey, who's up on the bench cheering and everything? 2 of the starters, Clifford and me, are rooting for the rest of the guys to get the job done. But that's what this team was about. We didn't care who got the job done as long as it got done.
I know he's no longer with us here. He left us last year, Jamaal. But how important was it for you to go from John Wooden to Al Attles as your head coach?
It was a real opportunity. It was a real opportunity for me, because I knew Al from a distance. I didn't know him personally, and he was a very demanding coach, but he's a very, and this is unusual, a very likable coach. You know, it's very rare that you have a demanding coach and a likable coach. And I think, to a man, none of us wanted to disappoint Al. And I think he really was the springboard, for our defense and for our team.
It was like playing with Rick. You come in as a rookie. Rick's already established. He's an MVP. He's dropping 30 a game. He's one of the 75 best players in his league. And until Steph Curry came around, he's probably the best player in this franchise's history. No disrespect to my man Chris Bullen, but what was it like playing with Rick?
It was, I was a little on the edge when I first got in, because he was so large, as a prolific scorer. And I come to find out he was a great passer too. And although he could be standoffish and be critical, but I learned that he was harder on himself than he was on anyone else. And when I saw that, it was a real treat and a real opportunity to be driven and pushed by him to become the best pro I could become.
Well, let me tell you something about Jamaal, because he used to kill me. I would guard him, and he had that stupid shot of his with his elbow flying, but he'd always get it back straight. And I said, look, Jamaal, here's the deal, because when we scrimmage against each other, I said, when you're playing the other team, visualize my face on the guy guarding you, and then you'll eat his lunch.
Yeah, you did.
Rick still has that competitive nature, right? Rick, to this day, man, he still wants to beat everybody. Pickleball, tennis, fly fishing.
Some people just have that competitive edge that never goes away. And I'm real happy that he has found something at 80 years old that he can still be Rick Barry. And so that's a great thing. I just think it's great. But I want to say something about Coach Attles.
Yep, please.
All of us, all 12 of us, to the last man, even the 2 guys that probably didn't get to play a lot, we never wanted to disappoint Coach Attles. That was the driving force. We knew the situation, what we were trying to accomplish, what he was trying to accomplish, and we never wanted to let him down. And that was a big driving force for us to make a championship run.
And we all know he was proud of all you guys helping him win that championship. And with this organization for over 60 years is incredible here. Rick, I was thinking about you because it's been a lot of talk about the schedule and back-to-backs. The Warriors have had 5 back-to-backs. But I know you wanted to play 48 minutes a night.
Yeah, I played a lot of minutes, and the thing is, I didn't come to sit in the bench and watch and have this load management. I can't relate to load management. I didn't like it when we were blowing people out, because that means I wasn't going to get to play. And we had 4 games in 5 nights and 3 games in 4 days. It was a totally different world. Believe me, we could spend an hour talking about the differences back when we played and they played. But credit to these guys for what they did, and the similarities between the championship team 40 years later, when those guys won in 2014-15, and us, is remarkable. Jamaal and my point told us we're kind of like Steph and Clay. Clifford and George, they had 2 centers. We had the 2 centers. We both won 10 deep. We had 2 veteran players coming off the bench who were all-star players. The Warriors had 2 guys doing that. It was unbelievable. It kind of like was our team from 75 was playing in 14 and 15. It was pretty cool.
And Cliff, how cool is it to still see some of the guys around here? You guys celebrated last night with a nice dinner. You've been around each other with the nice, cool T-shirts. Must be pretty cool. 50 years later, we're still giving you your love.
This is something that people are amazed at. But we've never not talked to one another all out for 50 or 30, 40, 50 years. We've always been the same.
I think George said it best just earlier today. Said, I was thinking last night, I called somebody that if I could just listen to us talking and not look in the mirror and realize we're old like we are, it was like being together 50 years ago.
Yeah, we're ready to run out on the court and get it done.
They may need some minutes from you, Cliff. Need it big. They got Donovan Clingan on the other side. Jamal, you got some minutes in you, man?
Boy, what these guys getting paid today? Yes. Yes, I've got some
Jamaal Silk Wilkes, Clifford Ray, man, saves the day, and Rick Barry, the MVP, of course, of those finals. Always good to have you guys. Congratulations again. We love honoring that 1975 NBA championship team, the third championship in franchise history. And Stephen Curry, he's trying to win another one for himself. We'll talk more about the homestand as Rob Brooks and Festus Ezeli rejoins me here at the Gatehouse.
Warriors Pregame Live is presented by Comcast Business, helping turn today's small businesses into engines of modern business, powering possibilities.